Bam. Alright.
Yeah?
I think I'm gonna go with the jacket, man. What jacket got today?
Cool.
Nah, I'll be comfortable for you. Let me throw it on for a second.
Figure it out.
Just to look at it. Alright, I'm ready for you though. What you?
Cool. Alright, so first of all, let's just start. Okay, so I'm not sure what this is going to become. If it's a radio story or if I end up making a podcast, but I want to make sure that I have your permission to use this interview in some creative form. Is that all right?
Yes, sir. You do.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it. Cool. So we've talked a little bit about what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to collect different stories about different transitions, and I think that transitions are an interesting place to look at because one, there's so many different types of transitions that people go through, and two, while we might go through very different transitions, there's a lot of wisdom in the shares that I can collect and that other people might be able to hear. So that is part of the reason why I'm collecting these stories. So let's start with you just telling me your name, maybe how old you are, and then a way that you choose to identify yourself.
Well, my name is Loove. That's what I like to identify myself by. I was born Rio Allen Moore Jr., my father's name, which eventually converted over to Allen Moore. Always called AJ from the Allen Jr. and then eventually to Allen Jamal Moore. So, and now, then it went to Amo, where they took that Allen, the AJ, and the Moore and Amo, and that kind of transformed itself from there to, that's Amo, like Te Amo, Moore, to Love More. You can't beat them, join them. Love More.
Cool. Yeah. And how long have you been using that? How long have you been identifying as Love More?
Well, like I said, with Amo, that's basically that, I got that from Latin people, Amo, oh, Te Amo, okay. So I always mentally and internally seen it as that, but for I guess the last 2 years, it's been officially just Love More.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And just so that the listeners know what you are about and what you do, do you want to give us a little bit of information about some of the things that you're working on and doing?
Yeah, well, I guess about what I am or what I do, I would say I live for a living, so, some people say they work their job to make a living, or do whatever they do, their hobby, whatever, for a living, and I enjoy all things, to be unlimited. So me being a real artist base, what we could call that concept as an artist, which is, I feel like art is expression. Whatever you express yourself through, that's an art. That's your art. Right here, this podcast, this is your art. You're expressing your thoughts and how you feel through the art. So I try to keep myself unlimited and in my expression. So I'm just an ultimate artist.
Cool. So in thinking about transitions, and maybe when you think of transitions or transitions that you have experienced or transitions that you're going through, what are some that come to mind?
Well, some of my transitions are, I guess, some of the earlier transitions I have, I guess would say, just the basis is being myself. That's what I want to do, be myself, be the being that I am. And I always have to my first transitions were from, being who I am based on my environment, based on, my environment telling me what I have to be and what I'm capable of or what's comfortable for them, versus me being transcending or transferring into in a transition to me being in control of that. I'm in control of my environment, which one I choose to be in, and that was in turn me being in control over, you know, how things affect me.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the first like transitions. And I always was into art. I liked art for like music. That was the first one. Or dancing. I like dancing first. I was like, I think music was the first one, but I didn't actually engage into it. You know, music was so crazy to me. I used to think it was like, I look at the radio and think there's little people in there singing. You know, like damn, those little people in there, like how they do? Damn, like that's how amazing it was to me until. You know, growing up, I used to see a lot of domestic violence and stuff too. So to the point to where I see all the adults all mad and at each other at night drinking, you know, probably self-medicating at the time. But then in the morning, the song would be on the radio. They'd be, hey, I'm feeling good and shit. Like, okay, you just mad. And now you feeling good. So I wanted to make people feel like that. And I looked at that music as the way that it made them feel like that. So I was always in a transition, like a journey to find my way of being able to do that, you know?
So that, oh yeah, one of the things that I need to make sure that I want you to know is that if there are questions that I ask that you're not comfortable answering or just let me know and we don't have to cover it. Also, if at the end of the interview, like there's something that you've covered and you don't really feel comfortable like with me sharing that in any way, let me know and we won't use it. So just keep that. I just want you to be comfortable the whole time. So.
No, I hear you. I mean, just to communicate. I'm pretty transparent. You know, that was a transition within itself. You know, to get to that point. You know, not feeling like I had to be a certain way to get the result I wanted. That's like manipulation. You know, like not sharing something and saying that like it's my life. You know, so if I share it, it's like I experienced it. It was an experience. It wasn't me. You know, so. I'm open when it comes to that.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. And again, like I just appreciate this opportunity to chat with you. So let's go, take me back to like when you were younger and thinking about like what that environment looked like and then thinking also about like what you imagined what you would be doing now, you know, like what when you were, I don't know, when you were in grade school, like what was going on in your life, and like what did you want to be, and we'll come back to this later, but I just kind of want to.
So I always had a great sense of like awareness since birth, like I mean, I had a lot of different like patchy thoughts, you know, growing up. Like I could think of some patchy things growing up. Like being in these apartments when I was younger and like going swimming with my family, or like my mom and dad like coming home, like I could see the back room and us having knowing that I had like a video game system in there and probably sharing that room with my sister. I remember dreams that I had around that time, you know. But those like earlier thoughts are kind of like that, these patchy though like scenes that I could see. But eventually my like main first memories were me being in West Oakland. Just around my family, like I remember my grandma lived in one place, and then I could walk down like to the other side of the apartments or buildings or whatever, and then my auntie was over there, my uncle, you know, my uncle stayed over there, you know, so it was just like I could just travel from here to this side of the projects or whatever, and it would just be like, I just remember good times. I remember like the ice cream man coming down there. I remember this dude used to sell cherries. I remember the song, he'd be like, cherries, sweet, sweet cherries. He was swinging, he'd be singing that like, call your mama, call your papa, cherries, sweet, sweet cherries. And just on the intercom like in his car, and just, I felt, it was like that to me, you know, growing up. And then just like shit, just stand up all night. That's the first time I did that, like as a youth, like before, like on elementary school, like just stand up all night. I mean, outside, like from the sun down to sun up, as a little kid. Like so, that was like the first time I was doing that. So little things like that, like opened my mind to like the day it went all the way through, and I'm still up, like. You know, like I didn't, like just changing my mentality based on society telling you how to do that like early. So like that, then I moved to like San Leandro, and I went to school out there, you know, and then I used to always go back to Oakland because that's my mom, that was probably her comfort zone. Then one of my aunties moved out to Tracy, So she went out there first, and we used to visit her sometimes, like watch the Mike Tyson fight. You know, that was over in like 3 seconds. Went all the way out here, you know, just to watch the fight, and it's over already. So that used to be fun. And then eventually, my mom felt the vibe out there and just made that move. And then I ended up going to school out there, like high school and stuff. And it was fun, man. I seen that my mom, that was a transition there. My mom went to go from being in her environment to where she used to grow up, say, no, you're going to grow up to be a criminal like your uncles type shit, you know? To where now we're out here where everybody's, it's the Bay Area has everybody, but here it's just like, there's more white people, there's more Mexican and more maybe Indians, you know, just different demographics there, you know, to where it was like, okay, we're here now, like, okay. And I always felt like my mom wanted to keep me out of the streets, but she forgot about the alleys, you know? It was like, so it was like, all right, I found another version of familiar things to me and finding people and just embracing positivity. I always did, but I had the opportunity to try to embrace positivity. I still had every opportunity where they had Norteño, Sereno gangs and stuff like that, but I had a chance to embrace positivity, you know? Because I didn't go to school with anyone, like, my older sister is 4 years older than me. So the only time we went to school was when I was in like 1st grade, and she was in 5th grade, you know? And I used to be trying to fight the people, friends, the boys around there and stuff, like, get away from my sister type stuff, you know what I mean? And they used to be cool, but then, yeah, when she left school, like, left 5th grade, that was it. I was in school by myself. So I had to always, like, be a great judge of character and learn how to do that. That process started. Like, I had to find, it wasn't no cousins, nobody that, you know, just people that I may have known from last year, that's here next year, you know. So, and all the way up until I graduated, you know.